Oh no, I have an exam coming up. What is transgenerational systems theory?
Whoa there, you sound a little nervous. Don't worry, I'm here to help. First, all transgenerational theorists share the belief that present day problems are related to issues in a person's family of origin. And although their theories and practices may differ, they all agree that the way to problem resolution involves working with more than one generation in therapy. Transgenerational approaches to family therapy grew out of the work of such pioneers as Ivan Bosamini-Nagy, James Framo, Norman Paul, and Murray Bowen. Although their theories and practice may differ, all of them agree that the royal road to problem resolution involves working with more than one generation in therapy. Specifically, it's the unresolved conflicts, beliefs, and roles in an individual that are thought to be transmitted across generations. And I know you want to know about all the theories, but how about we just stick to one today? Today, let's talk about Bowen's model of family therapy. And to help me, I've brought along Murray Bowen.
Hi class, I'm Murray Bowen.
Bowen conducted clinical studies at the National Institute of Mental Health, in which entire families lived on a psychiatric ward with their family members. He noticed the patients and their parents acted in predictable interactional patterns. He found that anxiety was often transmitted from one family member to another, and even to other staff members working on the unit. In fact, he found that a family's anxiety often subsided as various members of the unit staff began to take on the anxiety for them. These observations led Bowen to develop a systems concept for schizophrenia and other disorders. A core assumption of Bowen's system theory is that families and other natural systems respond in organized pattern behaviors. This instinctual organizing into repetitive patterns is called the emotional system.
Although there is a lot of information in my theory, I really want to talk about the 6 major concepts.
Good idea, Murray. They are differentiation of self, triangles, nuclear family emotional process, family projection process, and multi-generational transmission process. I think that's it, right?
You forgot sibling position. And then there's my other ideas. Genograms, coaching, eye position, person-to-person relationship, process questions, emotional reactivity, emotional cutoff, projective hypothesis. I could go on and on.
Yes, Murray, but we don't have time to talk about all of that. So how about we just pick a few and talk about them individually? How's that?
Yeah, let's do it.
Bowen theorized that families are living organisms with identifiable patterns of behavior. In the family organism, patterns of dysfunctional behavior tend to be repeated and become stabilized over time and can undermine family relationships.
Individuals within the family system are pulled between belonging to the group and being separate. Ideally, there should be balance.
Can you talk more about that? Isn't that your idea of differentiation?
Yes, my idea of differentiation of self explains the degree of closeness and distance individuals are in their family.
Bowen coined the term differentiation to address the lifelong process individuals go through to define the self within the family emotional system. Differentiation of self is demonstrated by the degree to which a person can think, plan, and follow his or her own values or convictions separate from their family's emotional system.
Highly differentiated individuals are able to react to the world rationally and enter into relationships while balancing competing needs for belonging and being an individual.
Would you say differentiation is the cornerstone of your model?
Yes, and the goal of therapy is to help one or more family members toward a higher level of differentiation so that they can form open and honest relationships with others.
Those persons with low levels of differentiation cannot think clearly for themselves and tend to be emotionally reactive. Without their own identity, these persons mimic views they have heard rather than developing ideas of their own. In order to classify all levels of human functioning, Bowen developed the differentiation of self scale. The scale quantifies from 0 to 100 the basic level of self in a person. People at the higher end of the scale are said to have a solid self. A person with a solid self is more differentiated and is able to function based upon a personally defined set of values, beliefs, and life principles. Those at the lower end of the scale have a pseudo-self that is negotiable in relationships and is easily influenced according to others' emotions. The pseudo-self is composed of beliefs and ideas that are essentially borrowed. Those with a pseudo-self live according to feelings, not facts. Bowen developed the scale from 0, or no self, to 100, the highest level of differentiation, as a way to evaluate the degree of emotional fusion one has with others and their families of origin. Bowen believes that people choose mates with levels of differentiation similar to their own. His concept of nuclear family emotional system describes 3 possible patterns in a nuclear family when partners are intensely fused. They are marital conflict, impairment in one or more of the children, and dysfunction in a spouse. Let's meet the Smith family, who will show us examples.
My mom's coming over for dinner. Can you get rid of that hat? You know how much she hates it.
No way. I don't care what she thinks. I love this hat.
You never do what I ask you to do. I ask you to mow the lawn, you don't mow the lawn. I ask you to clean the dishes, you don't clean the dishes. I ask you to take your hat off, you don't even take your hat off.
Blah, blah, blah. That's all I ever hear is blah, blah, blah. You don't do this, you don't do that. I can't take it anymore.
The family projection process describes the primary way parents transmit their emotional problems to a child. Children can inherit problems as well as strengths through their relationship with their parents. Undifferentiated parents can transmit their immaturity or lack of differentiation to their children through the family projection process. Let's see how one child was affected.
Mom, can I please have candy? Please, 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 so much, please. I'll give you $1, please. But can I please have candy, please? Can I please, 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 please have candy?
According to Bowen, the position a child has within the family impacts their development and behavior. This child is the youngest and has turned out to be quite demanding.
Dad gives me candy, but you don't. Please, just give me some candy.
Wow, this family could use some help. How about it, Murray?
But wait, now it's a good time to talk about triangles.
I know what a triangle is. It has one face and 3 corners. Corners!
Yes, in my model, a triangle is the smallest unit in a family system. When anxiety forms between 2 people, drawing in a third person helps stabilize the system.
And let's bring in the mother-in-law to show us an example.
Hey, honey, I bought you some groceries seeing we all know how your wife hates to cook and doesn't even know how to food shop.
Thanks, Mom. You're the best.
Triangles are the basic building blocks of an emotional system and serve to connect individuals to each other. As anxiety builds between 2 members of a family, a third individual is involved to stabilize the relationship or to bind the anxiety.
Bye, guys. Love you. Glad I could help.
According to Bowen, Roles, patterns, emotional reactivity, and family structure are passed from one generation to another. In each generation, the child that is most fused with the family is the least differentiated. Conversely, the one that is least anxiously involved becomes the most differentiated.
Mr. Murray, are you almost done? I really want to talk about treatment.
Yes, but first let me tell the class a little about some of my treatment ideas. First, my model doesn't require all members of the family to be present, but it does require an understanding of how the family system operates across multiple generations. Second, I would do a family genogram and collect important information including ages, marriages, divorces, births, deaths, and the quality of relationships. It would indicate any loyalties, conflicts, and cutoffs.
In Bowen's model, the therapist's role is one of helping the clients start a lifelong process of self-discovery and differentiation. The therapist encourages family members to take increasing responsibility for their roles in creating and maintaining problems by coaching them to make statements that reflect their own thoughts and feelings instead of blaming others, and of course without getting triangulated into the system themselves. Simply put, the therapist teaches them how emotional systems operate and initiates the work of differentiation from their respective families of origin. Well, I've got to get back to class, but thanks for your help, Murray, and to everyone else, good luck on your exam.
Now we can relax.